Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered where it all came from? Have you ever felt the warmth of the sun on your skin and questioned how this world began? These are some of the oldest questions humanity has ever asked. They are questions that connect us across thousands of years to our earliest ancestors. The answers we seek are not just about science or history. Science history, they are about meaning. They are about our place in the vast, silent universe. We look for a story that makes sense of the beautiful, chaotic world around us. A story that tells us who we are and why we are here. Who we are, why we are here. The search for these answers is a journey every one of us takes, whether we realize it or not. In the heart of these profound questions lies an ancient book, a collection of stories that has shaped civilizations and inspired billions. This book is called Genesis. The word Genesis itself means origin or beginning. It is the very first book of the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Old Testament. It doesn't just start a collection of texts. It aims to start the story of everything. It opens in darkness and silence before time as we know it existed. From that emptiness it paints a picture of creation, of light, of life, and of humanity's first steps onto the world stage. Creation, light, life, humanity's first steps. It is a book not just to be read but to be experienced. Genesis is more than just a historical document or a religious text. Historical document, religious text. It is a grand invitation. It invites us to travel back to the dawn of time to witness the very moment the universe was spoken into existence. It asks us to walk through a pristine garden, to meet the first man and woman, and to feel the wonder and the innocence of a world untouched by sorrow. Pristine garden, first man and woman, wonder and innocence. It guides us through humanity's earliest triumphs and its most humbling failures. Earliest triumphs, most humbling failures. These are not just stories about distant figures from the past, they are stories about the fundamental nature of humanity itself, exploring themes of creation, choice, rebellion, and redemption. Creation, choice, rebellion, redemption. In this journey we are about to begin, we will explore two of its most powerful and iconic tales. We will first witness the breathtaking spectacle of creation, watching as a formless void is transformed into a vibrant living world teeming with wonders. We will see the stars ignited and the oceans filled. Stars ignited, oceans filled. Then we will travel forward in time to the plains of Shinar. There we will stand in the shadow of the Tower of Babel, a monument to human ambition and unity, and witness the moment that changed the course of human communication forever. Human ambition, unity. These are stories that have echoed through the ages, and they still have much to tell us today. Imagine a time before time. Try to picture a state of being where nothing you can see, nothing you can touch, nothing you can hear. This is the starting point of our story. It is not the empty blackness of space as we know it. This is an emptiness that is absolute. There is no up or down, no left or right, there is no past, no present, no future. The universe is a formless, silent void. It is a deep, endless ocean of darkness without a shore, without a surface. The Bible describes this state as without form and void, a blank canvas waits for the first stroke of the master painter. Within this profound nothingness, a presence exists. Not a physical being but a powerful, conscious spirit. This is God. The Spirit of God moves over the dark, chaotic waters. Imagine a gentle but powerful wind gliding over a still black ocean stretching into infinity. This movement is the first hint of change, the first sign the stillness will be broken. A moment of pure potential, filled with silent, immense energy. Everything that will ever be, every star, every planet, every mountain, every living creature, is held within this moment, the quiet before the most magnificent symphony. The universe holds its breath. From the heart of the infinite darkness and silence, the first command is spoken. It is not a shout that echoes through a void, but a thought that becomes reality. Let there be light. The words are simple, yet they possess an unimaginable power. In an instant, the endless darkness is shattered. A brilliant, pure light floods the universe. God sees the light, he recognizes its quality. God saw that the light was good. This is not just a casual observation, it is a declaration of purpose and value. The light is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a symbol of order, truth, life itself. It is the first element of a good and ordered creation. With this new element, God creates the first rhythm of the universe. He separates the light from the darkness. He gives them names, identity and function. He calls the light day, he calls the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. The first great problem, darkness and formlessness, has been addressed. Light and order have entered the cosmos. The stage is now illuminated, ready for the next act of creation. On the second day, the creative work continues. The universe is still a watery, chaotic place, a mixture of liquid and vapor. To bring order here, God speaks another command. He calls for a space, an expanse, created in the middle of these waters, a barrier to separate one body of water from another, a vast dome. The firmament rises, pushing waters apart. Some water lifted high above, the rest remains below. And God called the firmament sky. This creates the atmosphere, breathable air, and the blue expanse we see when we look up. The water above becomes the source of rain. The water below becomes the oceans, seas, and lakes. There was evening, and there was morning, the second day. The formless void is being transformed into a structured cosmos, a home prepared for life. The third day dawns upon a world that is still completely covered by water. Below the newly formed sky lies a single planet-spanning ocean. God issues his next command: let the water under the sky be gathered to one place and let dry ground appear. In response, the world undergoes a massive geological transformation. He calls the dry ground land. He calls the gathered waters seas. And once again he pauses to observe his work. And God saw that it was good. With the land now in place, God speaks again. Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees bearing fruit with seed. Instantly, a miracle of green explodes across the barren land. This is not just life, but life that can sustain and reproduce itself. The plants bear seeds, the trees bear fruit with seeds inside. Creation is designed with a future. And there was evening and there was morning, the third day. The planet is now dressed in green, a beautiful and living world. As the fourth day begins, the world is beautiful and vibrant, but the sky above is still incomplete. The light that illuminates the day and the darkness that defines the night come from an abstract divine source. Now God decides to place physical lights in the great expanse of the sky, to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. The sun's daily journey will mark the passing of each day. The moon's changing phases will mark the passing of months. The position of the stars will mark the passing of seasons and years. And God saw that it was good. The world is no longer just a living planet. It is part of a larger, magnificent solar system. The dawn of the fifth day reveals a world that is vibrant and alive, but also strangely silent and still. The lands are covered in green, but no creature walks upon them. The skies are bright, but no wings soar through them. The seas are vast, but no life swims within their depths. God now turns his creative attention to these empty realms. Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth. The words are a call to life, and the world responds with an explosion of activity. The oceans are a living, breathing kingdom. The air, which was once silent, is now filled with the sound of beating wings and a symphony of birdsong. God looks upon the new creatures, and he sees that they are good. Then for the first time he gives a blessing to his creation. Be fruitful and increase in number. The fifth day ends with a world teeming with movement, sound, and the promise of abundance. So the sixth and final day of creation arrives. The world is already a masterpiece, but the land itself remains empty of moving life. Now God commands the earth to bring forth its own inhabitants. Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds. From the soil of the earth, new forms of life arise. The land is now filled with the sounds and movements of the animal kingdom. God observes this final addition to the animal world and sees that it too is good. But the most important creative act is yet to come. Then, for the first time, God speaks as if in counsel with himself. Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. God forms the first man from the dust of the ground. But then, God does something unique. He breathes into the man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man becomes a living soul. This new being, Adam, is given a special role. God gives him dominion over all the other living things, a sacred responsibility of stewardship, to care for the world God has made. Seeing that it is not good for the man to be alone, God creates a partner for him, Eve, formed from Adam's own side, signifying a deep and intimate connection. With the creation of humanity, God looks at everything he has made and he sees that it is very good. The sixth day ends and the work of creation is now complete. Many generations have passed since the dawn of creation and the great flood. Humanity has been given a second chance. A single family, Noah and his sons, their descendants began to multiply. All of humanity was truly one. They all spoke the same language. Imagine everyone understanding you perfectly, communication seamless. This unity fostered community and collective identity. The population grew and a great migration began. They found a place that seemed perfect, a wide, flat plain in Shinar. Here they could plant crops that would feed thousands and build a settlement unlike any the world had ever seen. The land provided the perfect materials for building. The ground itself was full of thick, sticky clay. They learned to form it into uniform blocks and bake them in the sun. These were the first bricks. Settling in Shinar, the people began to build. With their shared language and cooperative spirit, their efforts were incredibly efficient. As the city grew, so did the people's confidence. They saw what they could accomplish when they worked together, and it filled them with a deep sense of pride. They said to each other, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, with a tower that reaches to the heavens." This was a declaration of a new and audacious goal. Born from a combination of pride and fear, they feared being scattered. The tower was their solution, a central point, a beacon, a physical anchor for their civilization. So, the grand project began. The entire society mobilized for the task. The sound of construction filled the air, a constant hum of activity that was the sound of their unified will being made real. The construction of the Tower of Babel was a marvel of project management and human collaboration. Because everyone spoke the same language, instructions could be given and understood with perfect clarity. As the tower grew taller, a subtle but dangerous change began to occur. Their initial motivation began to transform into something else. It became pure pride, an arrogance that bordered on defiance. The tower, meant to reach the heavens, was now seen as a way to reach into the heavens. They believed their own strength, their own technology, their own unity, could carry them to God's realm. They no longer looked to God for security or identity, believing they could create both themselves. Their city, their tower, would be their salvation, built by their own hands. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the children of man had built. God saw their unity, and he understood the immense power it gave them. He said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them." This was not a statement of admiration, but one of concern. The intervention that was about to happen was not primarily a punishment, but a difficult and necessary act of correction. He would go down and confuse their language so they would not be able to understand each other. The divine intervention was instantaneous and baffling. A wave of confusion swept across the construction site. A simple request for water was met with a blank stare. The seamless communication that had been the engine of their progress dissolved into chaos. Panic and frustration quickly replaced the proud spirit of cooperation. People began to search for others who spoke as they did. The great, unified family of humanity fractured. The great city and its half-finished tower were abandoned. The project, once the symbol of their unity, was now a monument to their division. The different language groups began to move away from Shinar. They scattered in all directions, fulfilling the very fate they had feared. The city was called Babel, the legendary origin of the world's many peoples, cultures, and languages. From this single point of confusion, the diverse tapestry of human civilization began to be woven. As we step back from the breathtaking spectacle of the 6 days of creation and the dramatic fall of a unified people, we are left with more than just memorable stories. We are left with a profound sense of order and purpose, and a timeless warning. The creation story offers a vision of a world crafted with intention. It calls us to be responsible caretakers, stewards of a beautiful, fragile planet. The story of Babel explains our divisions. It serves as a warning against the pride that leads civilizations to believe they can replace God with their own power. And the declaration that humanity is made in the image of God provides a foundation for human dignity, challenging us to see the divine reflection in every person we meet. The echo of Babel resounds in our modern, globalized world. Technology has allowed us to start building a new kind of global tower. Yet, despite this connectivity, our world remains deeply divided. The story challenges us to seek a different kind of unity, not by erasing differences but by respecting them, not to rebuild the tower but to learn how to build bridges. The challenge left by Babel is to find harmony in our diversity, celebrating the rich variety of the human family. In the end, what is the enduring legacy of these ancient stories? They speak to the deepest, most universal aspects of the human condition. They are not just old events, They are stories about us. They are the prologue to the human story, a story of our potential for goodness and our tendency toward pride. The journey through Genesis is a journey into what it means to be human. They still speak because their questions are our questions, and the story they tell is in many ways our own.